An American aircraft carrier looks self-contained. From a distance, it appears to be a floating city that can sail anywhere, fight anywhere, and sustain itself indefinitely. Nuclear propulsion removes the need for fuel. Massive storage spaces seem to promise endless supplies. Thousands of sailors live and work on board. To most observers, it feels like the carrier is independent by design. That impression is misleading. In reality, keeping a single U.S. aircraft carrier at sea is one of the most complex and resource-intensive logistical efforts in modern military history. The ship itself is only the visible center of a much larger system, one that stretches across oceans, continents, and entire supply networks. What makes an aircraft carrier effective is not just its size or firepower, but the constant, invisible flow of support that keeps it functioning day after day. The first misconception is nuclear power. Yes, an aircraft carrier does not need to refuel its reactors for decades, but propulsion is only one part of the equation. Everything else still runs on consumables. Aircraft burn enormous quantities of aviation fuel. Catapults, elevators, radars, and sensors require continuous electrical power. Food, water, spare parts, medical supplies, and munitions are consumed every single day. A carrier air wing alone can burn through millions of gallons of jet fuel during sustained operations. Every sortie launched and recovered represents fuel burned, parts worn, and maintenance hours accumulated. The more active the carrier is, the faster those resources are consumed. Nuclear power does not change that reality. Then there is the human factor. A modern U.S. aircraft carrier typically carries between 5,000 and 6,000 people when the air wing is embarked. Feeding them is a massive undertaking. Thousands of meals are prepared every day. Fresh food must be replenished regularly. Even with careful rationing and storage, a carrier cannot remain at sea indefinitely without resupply. Morale also matters. Long deployments strain crews physically and mentally. Medical support, mail delivery, recreational supplies, and even basic comforts all play a role in keeping sailors effective. These needs do not disappear just because the ship is nuclear-powered. Maintenance is another constant challenge. Aircraft carriers are extraordinarily complex machines. Thousands of systems operate simultaneously, from propulsion and power generation to sensors, weapons, and communications. Aircraft add another layer of complexity. Every flight hour increases wear. Every landing stresses the airframe. Saltwater, vibration, heat, and constant use degrade equipment faster than most people realize. Some maintenance can be performed at sea, but not all of it. Skilled technicians, specialized tools, and spare parts are required. Many of those parts are unique, expensive, and not easily replaced. Keeping them flowing to a moving ship in the middle of an ocean requires careful planning and coordination. This is where the supply chain becomes critical. A carrier does not simply load everything it might need and sail away. Instead, it relies on a global logistics network managed by the United States Navy and its supporting commands. Supply ships shuttle fuel, ammunition, food, and parts from ports to fleets. Airlift moves high-priority items across continents to reach carriers quickly. Forward bases store stockpiles so that ships do not have to return home every time something runs low. Replenishment at sea is one of the most demanding and risky operations a Navy performs routinely. Supply ships must sail alongside the carrier, often in open ocean, while fuel hoses and cargo lines are connected. These operations require calm seas, precise navigation, and highly trained crews. They are conducted repeatedly throughout a deployment, sometimes every few days during high-tempo operations. Without this constant resupply, a carrier's endurance would be sharply limited. Its aircraft would stop flying. Its weapons magazines would empty. Its crew would be exhausted. Nuclear propulsion alone cannot solve those problems. Protection is another hidden requirement. Because an aircraft carrier is so valuable, it cannot operate alone. Destroyers, cruisers, submarines, and aircraft form a protective bubble around it. These escorts also consume fuel, food, and spare parts. Keeping the carrier at sea, therefore, means keeping an entire strike group supplied and maintained. That multiplies the logistical burden. Every escort ship has its own needs: fuel for conventional propulsion, missiles that must be replaced after exercises or operations, sensors that require calibration and repair, crews that need rest and rotation. The carrier may be the centerpiece, but the system only works if every part remains functional. Command and coordination add yet another layer. A carrier strike group is not just a collection of ships. It is a mobile headquarters that integrates air, sea, and sometimes land operations. That requires secure communications, satellite access, data links, and constant information flow. These systems must be maintained, updated, and protected against interference or attack. Cybersecurity and electronic warfare have made this even more demanding. Protecting networks while keeping them operational at sea requires specialists, equipment, and constant monitoring. A failure in communications can be just as dangerous as a mechanical breakdown. Time is also a cost. Aircraft carriers require long maintenance periods in port between deployments. Crews must be trained and certified. Aircraft must be inspected and upgraded. Reactors require oversight. These cycles limit how often a carrier can deploy and how long it can stay at sea without degrading readiness. This is why the number of available carriers at any given time is always lower than the total number in the fleet. Some are deployed. Some are training. Some are undergoing maintenance. Keeping even one carrier forward deployed requires careful scheduling across the entire fleet. All of this explains why aircraft carriers are not just military assets, but strategic commitments. Deploying one is not a simple decision. It ties up ships, aircraft, personnel, supply chains, and political attention. Once committed, withdrawing a carrier can send signals just as powerful as deploying it. This reality also shapes how carriers are used in modern conflicts. High-intensity operations consume resources faster. Extended deployments strain crews and equipment. In contested environments, resupply itself becomes risky. An adversary does not need to sink a carrier to reduce its effectiveness. Disrupting its logistics, forcing escorts to divert, or threatening supply routes can achieve similar effects. That is why logistics has become one of the most critical vulnerabilities in naval warfare. Power projection depends not just on weapons, but on sustainment. A carrier that cannot be supplied is a carrier that cannot fight. Despite these challenges, the U.S. Navy continues to operate aircraft carriers across the globe. It does so because it has spent decades building the infrastructure, experience, and systems required to sustain them. No other Navy can match this capability at the same scale. But that capability is not automatic, and it is not cheap. Understanding what it really takes to keep one U.S. aircraft carrier at sea reveals an important truth. The carrier itself is only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath it lies an immense network of people, ships, aircraft, ports, and supply lines working constantly to keep that single ship operational. An aircraft carrier is not powerful because it is independent. It is powerful because it is supported.